First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
County executive who also has an amazing voice, Anthony Picente. You should hear him.
It rivals Steve Winwood.
You should hear him do Valerie by Steve Winwood. It's incredible. It really is.
We'll save it for another day.
We can save it. We can save it.
Is that how you're opening the State of the County address, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right. Well, listen, let's just chat about yesterday's briefing that went down. And the headline that came out was it's basically positive news right now.
Very good news, he said.
Well, it is. It's good news. And we're still, we always have to put that side of caution on that because of the, cases, they're still there. I mean, and we're still plateauing, which is I don't know if it's as troublesome as it was before, but the positivity rate certainly below 1%. That's key. The hospitalizations way down from what they were, and the challenge now is getting more people vaccinated, and quite frankly, getting younger people vaccinated. Because we are seeing some resistance in that certain age group. 25 to 40, that we really need to get vaccinated.
And you know what? I predicted this was going to end up happening, and I do think you're going to see New York State schools, public schools, begin to require the vaccine once it is approved for kids under the age of 16. But colleges are already doing it. Ithaca announced last week, Syracuse University in the news today. Others are going to follow. They're going to require the vaccine for kids to go back to school and staff as well.
Well, we're doing this weekend at one of our pods. We've got a few of them going on, and one of them, while it's what you could call a mixed pod because it's open to the public, but we are also vaccinating students from MVCC, SUNY Poly, Hamilton College, Utica College, and so we're in that business as well, and more of those students are coming through, and that's good. But we still need more. And then and I've told that internally in our office, and even with looking ahead, the real challenge is going to be if we, or whoever has to, and which it seems like it might fall on us, with the schools for the students going forward. That's going to be a big challenge, whether it's over the summer or, prior to September, and, depending on what State Ed and State Health recommends, which, they dragged their feet last summer. Hopefully they won't do that this year.
Right.
And make a decision. You're absolutely right. What are we going to do with that? So, we've been thinking about it and trying to prepare for it, but it's a huge challenge, and it's expensive. As I said yesterday, it was one of the other messages yesterday. Our pods are, everybody's talking about stimulus money and, how it's going to replace what we lost. Well, we're still spending money.
Right.
We're still, and again, for public health, we have to, and we will, and we'll continue. But, we need partnerships, too, in the cities, towns, and villages as we go forward, because these pods are expensive, and if we get to the bigger numbers, especially whether it's college students or whether it's all students, we're going to have our work cut out for us. We already do. So
I included this in the report yesterday that you can find on our website. But Bill, I'm wondering if do you have a number in mind how much it costs the county to operate one of these pods, just one pod, each pod?
Is a pod the same size as MV, or is it a smaller?
Well, they're all different. I mean, again, if you just want to take the average pod, take, a Griffiths pod of 500 doses, so because, we've done smaller ones, but we've also done larger ones.
The county doesn't pay for a vaccine.
Are you asking for per day, per week?
For the vaccine.
Yeah, but they got to pay for security. It's per pod, per day. So they got to pay for security, they got to pay for the doctors, and they got to pay for the people who inject it.
I would guess. I would guess it's got to be costing over $15,000 a day. I don't know. $50,000.
How about that? The county has spent $5 million.
Let me well over 50. And I want to, we're still, so the point is these are expensive undertakings. And look, I'm not trying to put the issue that we're crying about it in that regard. I just want to explain to people because they have to understand that it's a matter of what we're dealing with, and that's why when they talk about and everyone talks about stimulus money and going backwards, and replacing what you spent. Well, I'm still spending money every day, and and a lot of money because at a pod, take a Griffiths pod, you may have 100 workers because there is a lot that goes into that in terms of security, as Jeff said, but also overall segmenting the people, the registers, the nurses, the doctors themselves who are administering the overall checkpoints that go through it, the equipment that goes along with it that we have to have on hand. In terms of these pods that go through it. So the expensive, cost per hour, and when we run them, look, we don't just show up. We got to set up, get everything in check so that as people come through, they're vaccinated. They go out the back end, and then that's the drive-in pod, which is a little bit easier. Take the big pod at JCPenney from 2 weeks ago. 2,100 vaccines, 100 and. Oh God! I want to say maybe 150 workers at that point. Throughout the day, from 8, and people get there at 6 in the morning until 8 at night, and some between setup and breakdown and all the things in between. And so, the hourly rates. We have a great many of our employees that are doing so. That obviously there's overtime costs for them. We've hired I think 130, 150 plus between vaccinators and administrative assistants and doctors, and nurses, etc. So it a lot goes into these pods, and that's something that people need to understand. And so we want to do more in the towns and villages, and we will.
I have to say, if you would use radio. On a radio salary, employees would be expected to do it as part of their normal salary, and there'd be a pizza party afterwards. I mean, the money that could be saved if you use radio people would be there.
But we're doing 2 small
and we'll blog about it.
We're doing a couple pods today. One in Forestport, one in Clayville. So those are the startup smaller ones, which we're getting good. We're getting excellent response. So next week we're going to look at, and the next week we'll look at Vernon, Camden. And then we'll spread out. So,
and you are doing another one.
We need people to get the vaccine.
And are the current of adults that are eligible, you said the percentage right now is?
We're at about 40%.
That's really good.
Doses.
I still think that's good.
I'm very. Look, and I need to tip a hat to really, and even more so to the people that have been working these pods. Our staff has been phenomenal, and the people that we've had that have been hired, even some of them didn't want to get hired. I have to tell you that. I mean, they were like, "No, we'll volunteer," and we're like, "No, there's hard work here and the dedication, but they want to be there. They want to help people, and they're really, you go to these pods, and I know you've been to them. I mean, Nobody's like, a matter of fact, they're really engaged and helping
Nobody
people
was
and
miserable.
really excited about being there.
Yeah.
Any truth to the fact you'll be providing live entertainment at the Griffiths Rome pod? Picente sings the hits?
I don't know. I was going to try and see if Senator Griffith wanted to get
he does like that.
Back
he does enjoy that.
And come up there, do Woodstock at Griffiths.
I like that. Woodstock,
so.
Well, listen, the reality is this has all been put together very quickly, and, there should be a little patting on the back right now because what your office has done, what the community has done, and what we've all done gathering, and right down to people being open to getting the vaccine. This place is just all in a much better place. I mean, we're talking about going to a Comets game tonight.
It does. And look, that's where I would encourage, and again, you guys really do have and do a great job in terms of talking about this because of your experiences and everything else. And that's what I said yesterday. If you've had COVID, tell people go get the vaccine. If you've had the vaccine, tell people to go get the vaccine. Whether it's your family members, friends, whatever. I mean, it's the only thing that's going to get us through and get us back to the normalcy that we're all begging for. So,
speaking we were talking about money and how much it costs to run these pods.
sure.
How concerned are you about in the state budget that there's a mobile gaming deal, it seems, and we don't really quite understand if the payments you receive from the Oneida Indian Nation are in jeopardy right now?
Well, I think the whole thing is pretty confusing, I know, for everybody to understand, even though we don't, directly receive money from mobile gaming or even from sports betting, that was allowed. The more disturbing part is that all of these casinos, but more importantly, my concern obviously is, with the Oneidas and what they provide us and what we've been doing with them. And the fact that they, here's, and I heard Joel on the other day. I know Joel Barkin from the Nation was on. And he made the great point. It's like they've basically entered into a settlement agreement and paid for exclusivity to do gaming, all gaming. It doesn't say you can only do, three types of gaming. It says all gaming and plus it's under federal law that they also have that ability. Yet the state, at a time which is really surprising, has excluded the Native Americans from this piece altogether. But then is only looking to do one license for mobile gaming, basically, in which the state controls it, which it's crazy. And so the jeopardy that it puts us in is and look, we've had a great relationship with the Oneidas. We do believe, and I agree with them, that this is a breach of their agreement because they were given this exclusivity for these 10 counties. So now you took it away from them, and we'll see where they go. I hope it doesn't go to litigation, but at the end of the day, everybody has to protect their interest. And where the jeopardy is the the basis of the Turning Stone trademark and what they can do and what it can lead to more growth, and that's what I'm most concerned about.
Well, I was very impressed with Joel. What he said basically is they'll overlook the whole exclusivity thing if they're allowed to compete statewide for the mobile gambling. And
they offered an unbelievable compromise that said, look, we'll put a server somewhere else, we'll waive the exclusivity on mobile gaming, and everybody gets in.
Basically
and the other casinos and the other tribes agreed to that.
Yes.
So now, but
it should be easy.
And then there we are again.
Yeah. No.
Just a follow-up to that. If they've kind of, I don't want to say, I say threatened. They've kind of said, look, we've got an agreement in place. You're violating the agreement. And they've talked about, that they pay $70 million to the state.
Right.
But about $18 million of that comes to you, right? To the Oneida County?
About 20 in a good year.
$20 million.
Yeah.
And that
that's
be
a huge hole in your budget, right?
That is. Well, we saw what it did just when they were closed for 3 months during the pandemic. It was a huge hit to us. So, and there are provisions that, require them to continue even as they, file it, whether it's we file arbitration against the state or whatever. But nonetheless, it's still about, you're not even honoring, and that's what, the state legislature, and I know Joe fought for it and others, but it couldn't get through the heads. You've got an agreement in place here that was settled in the court of law that says you can't do this, yet they go ahead and do it.
And how meaningless is
pretty remarkable?
Is a pending agreement with the state if they're showing to make a new agreement they're willing to violate a previous one, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy.
I know you got to go, County Executive. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Enjoy this near 80 tomorrow. Yeah. So how about that? All right. Thanks so much. Enjoy the weekend.
Yep. Have a good one. Stay safe.
County Executive Anthony Picente.